Save our jobs, save our jobs, save jobs, save jobs. Vanakkam, namaskaram, namaste, salam, sabona, salutation. This was a March out in Chatsworth today, Wednesday. Not March, protest action. There was a protest action in Chatsworth because business owners of CMT factories got wind yesterday from SAPS Chatsworth that there were going to be raids as sanctioned by the president. And these business owners basically stood the risk of being arrested, jail time without bail, etc., as directed by the president. So many of them closed their business today, business owners. The employees were not happy. The locals were not happy because they were going to lose. They're not going to get paid. They're going to lose their jobs. And for the past 2 months or so, the eThekwini Clothing and Leather Association, which I'm a part of, I'm a spokesman, have been negotiating with government, saying to them that the CMT owners are well aware that they are these undocumented foreigners and they want a chance to be able to get the locals in, but it cannot happen overnight. Unfortunately, nobody listened. We wrote to the Premier, we wrote to the Home Affairs, nobody listened. So now that the owners are under threat of being arrested, because they do have undocumented, they've never denied that, never. They have undocumented foreigners working as machinists, machinists being the heart and soul of the industry. And if you remove all the machinists, there's no industry. So accordingly, if there's 100 workers and 40 are machinists, which are undocumented foreigners, and the company closes, 60 locals will lose their job. Under our membership of ECLA, we have over 10,000 employees, and 60% of them would be South Africans who will lose their job. Today's protest action with these ladies here and gentlemen of the companies were out there, and they were basically saying they want the foreigners, not because they want the foreigners. They want the foreigners because the foreigners, without them, the company is going to close. So a lot of people came after me and said to me, oh, I'm supporting illegal foreigners. I'm not supporting illegal foreigners. These people went out on the street, the locals, and they're saying we are losing our livelihood, which is a fact. They're losing their jobs. They're going to lose their jobs. Because at this current moment, each factory has 20, 30, 40 foreigners, undocumented, working as machinists. And if the company closes because of that, it will close. That is the reality. And it's a stark reality. You must understand this. Affecting a lot of Indian-owned businesses in Indian areas, employing these local African people, putting food on the table. So the situation has become so untenable. These factory owners, what they wanted to do was try and keep the business alive so that we don't have more unemployment and more negative effect on the economy. But everything seems to be skewed towards the fact that these business owners want to employ undocumented foreigners, they want to keep them there, and they want to do this. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. So the sad reality, what is going to happen, and unfortunately, through all our negotiations, it seems to be failing. These businesses will almost inevitably have to be shut down. You may address the issue, but someone still come on my platform and say, oh, but they're locals. Really bring the locals. I will challenge any organization, any person, any media outlet, any organization, any labor desk, MK Party, ANC, bring those people. I challenge you. Because I've been 2.5 to 3 months in this industry trying to find the locals to fill this position. It's not happening. And there has to be a skills transfer period, 2 to 3 weeks to 4 weeks to a month to train them to take over. And in that time, the business has to absorb all the costs. It's not untenable. And I think what's going to happen is that the business owners are now getting fed up because it's their lives at risk. They stand to be arrested. And these things maybe need to shut down. These companies need to shut down. We've got over 100 companies on our list, 10,000 people. There's over 250, 300, 400 CMT companies, eThekwini around KZN. They may need to shut down. And that's just becoming untenable because I have been facing the risk of being accused of supporting undocumented foreigners, which is the furthest from the truth. Even as a party, we support rule of law and saying you can't have undocumented foreigners. But in this instance, we ask for a moratorium period to have a skills transfer to be able to do this so that the locals do not lose their job. That is the main focus of the business owners trying to stay open. Not to keep the foreigners, to keep these people employed. But to do that, you have to have a skills transfer period with the foreigners running the machine. So there you go. That's the nuts and bolts of it. I don't know how much more to say it, but in conversations with the business owners today, it seems that this is going nowhere. And the businesses will have to shut down. And it's going to be a heavy loss to eThekwini, to the KZN province of South Africa in terms of unemployment. But The powers that be, people that are in power and association, the labor desk, etc., are adamant. The foreigners must go, and that means the businesses must close. And even as I'm saying it makes my heart heavy. But maybe that is what needs to be done. All the negotiations seem to have failed. It's a sad day for South Africa, and a sad day for all of these people who live in informal settlements. It's going to be really, 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 really tough on them. The business owners will survive, sell the machines, and get on. These people, poorest of the poor, will suffer. We warn them. We try to negotiate. Doesn't seem to be working.